and the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and it is Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for the toy news, action figure news of the week that excited me, that hopefully excites you, and of course, a bit of a bonus toy news, as 4th of July, just yesterday, I did do a separate toy news video talking everything and everything wrestling this week. Almost 40 minutes of wrestling toy news, so dive into that video, and then make sure you watch this one as well. This is going to cover everything else under the sun, and I got 2 pages full of notes to talk about. A very, very busy 4th of July week this week, so a lot of toy news going out there, which is a little bit surprising with San Diego Comic-Con looming in the horizon. More on that in this very video, but first, got to thank our friends over there at Jay'sToysAndGames.com. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 15% on all in-stock items. Of course, got to thank them for sponsoring the toy news this week. They got a lot of new arrivals there. I always recommend check their new arrivals every single day. Like Jacob Fatu, the new Elite figure, you can get that for like $20 right now. And that one's a hard to find figure. So they got a lot of stuff over there, everything under the sun. And then if you're local to the Des Moines, Iowa area, 4th of July weekend, 10% off everything inside their stores. So got to get a deal no matter which way you do it. Shout out to Jay's Toys and Games for sponsoring the channel. Got to appreciate the support right there. And today, also going on right now, Pro Wrestling Tees. Of course, you can save 25% over there with their code going on this week. So they got a big 4th of July sale. As I always say, pick up one of my t-shirts, search Kyle Peterson, or grab yourself a nice Terry Funk shirt. Oh, you can't go wrong. Ladies get all over you when you wear those Terry Funk shirts. They for sure do. Let me tell you, I was just at the Stray Kids concert last week. You know, really credible, of course. My metal cred just took a huge notch down going to that show. But I did have somebody in the audience say, "Oh, I love that Terry Funk shirt." And I said, my man. That's what I said right there. So a lot going on, but Jay's has a huge sale going on, and then Pro Wrestling Tees, a big sale. Even Ringside Collectibles, they got a big sale going on this week for 4th of July. So great time to get a deal on some long game items. 4th of July, a lot of deals to have. But of course, we're not done there. We got Patreon. Of course, we're now in the month of July. Patreon June winter videos up over on Patreon. Tons of stuff over there. But we do got a giveaway for the month of July, and it's a double dose of Hulk Hogan, Legends Hulk Hogan, and then the Target Ultimate exclusive. This is the giveaway for the month of July to one Patreon member. Trust me, the Patreon, there's about 1,000 things every single day over there. If you think you get a lot on traditional YouTube, you get even more over there. Truly a one-stop shop. You get glamour shots for all the videos between both YouTube channels. You get early access to all those. You get a chance at the giveaways. A monthly Q&A. This month, we're diving into San Diego Comic-Con. I'm going to spill the tea, as Todd McFarlane told me, about San Diego Comic-Con, how I get there, how I plan it, what I do, my thoughts, all that kind of stuff, answering your guys' questions about San Diego Comic-Con. A lot of stuff going on over there. You also get early access to my podcast. Of course, once again, my new podcast here, a couple of months, I guess episode 14 coming at you pretty soon. It is The Kyle Peterson Show. Each and every single Tuesday where podcasts are found, video cast on YouTube. And once again, early access for all the Patreon members. Hopefully everybody's enjoying the podcast. Make sure to rate and review and check it out and tell a friend. Sure, why not? But a lot going on, a lot of housekeeping going on as usual. But now we're going to dive into it. We're going to call this episode Werewolves and Sausages. That's what it is. Who would have thought we would have got 2 different action figure lines with sausages this week and 2 different action figure lines with werewolves? It's like they're playing all the hits. They know what I'm looking for. Hairy bipedal creatures and sausages. Oh, give me all the sausage. What, Todd? You got a sausage for me? Oh, well, I'll wait until after the video. I might be interested. I might partake. We'll see what happens there. But going to be an interesting here, but we're going to start it off. Of course, Yojo June is over. It's not forgotten. It's still remembered, of course, in our hearts, but a little bit of a disappointing Yojo June as a whole for me personally. I was hoping to see something really, really big, but we did get the Haslab. You could say that was big, but that was to be expected. Would have liked to seen like a Flint box set, would have been good. Or maybe a Duke box set with all Duke's follies, of course. All of his mishaps over the years. Maybe we could show that. Who knows? But we did see Yojo June finish strong with the Haslab. I did do a video on the channel breaking it down. And I want to put a little asterisk in there. Of course, I'm filming that video and I got my Kickstarter's backings mixed up between Mattel and all these other companies. I said to wait to the last minute and to pay. They don't do that with Haslab. I knew that. I was just, you're talking and all that kind of stuff. It comes out. But I knew that. So, of course, I did get my pre-order in because they're not going to charge you till August 14th at the end. So, back it right now. There's nothing really to wait for. And if you don't want it, you can go into Hasbro Pulse and cancel. But let's get those tiers. Of course, they were very smart, as we do know, as we did cover there. Of course, everybody wants an Arctic Flint. That's what everybody wants. You noticed there was no Duke tiers. There's never Duke tiers because nobody wants Duke. They're like, oh, Duke at 14,000, pass. Pass, don't need any more Dukes. But you throw Flint out there and you put him as that final stretch goal, you know what happens there. People start backing, things start rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling towards that. And to make things better, the first stretch goal being Lady J, I think that's great. Bring those two star-crossed lovers together, but you got to put that biovac in between. You got to put that tent in between them. We can't have them in the tent together, I guess. But that biovac tent, a famous toy from my childhood playing days. I had that as a kid. I loved that as a kid. I used that as a little outpost all the time. Very cool to get that in the classified series. Doesn't make a lot of sense for snow area, though. I don't know if you're setting something like that. That's more like a out in the woods or something tent. Not going to sit it up in the Antarctic Circle or something like that. But it's an interesting one. But it is a cool mini play set, which goes a long way. That's the 12,000. They need 8,000 to back just to get this thing backed. They're already over 6,000, like 6,500. I do fully feel they'll get to the 8,000 very easily. And then we'll see about the stretch goals, but I fully expect this thing to totally fund. They always do. And as I said, the last minute people always do wait to the last minute. We'll see a huge rise at that in the future. But very excited about that. I love that Flint comes with some sausages. If there's anything I ever wanted to try was Flint's sausage in my mouth, of course. Some of the best sausages ever. Oh, so juicy, so thick. Can't wait to see that one in hand. Duke's, I've seen Duke make sausage a time or two too. Shriveled up, extremely small, not plump, big, juicy ones like Flint. Flint going all in. He's also going to bring some eggs for you too. 2 eggs. Shout out to Flint, always keeping his men fed. Truly a true leader, not opposed, where Duke would say, I'm not making you guys food, make it yourself. Flint's like, you know what, guys? I've had a long day. I took on those 12 Cobra snipers. I fought all those alley vipers one-on-one with my fist. But I will make everybody a meal. I will make everybody a meal because he cares about his team. He's a true leader at the end of the day, unlike that Duke that all about nepotism, getting himself in the way of things, just being stupid as usual. But very excited about this Haslab. I've heard some people comment in the videos, well, the snowcat doesn't do anything for me. I live in a place where there's no snow. There was a couple people that said that in my comments. I'm just like, what? I have snow half the year around my area. It's not like I live in Antarctica or something, but I don't really live in an area where I'm in a Dragonfly or a Rattler or a Hiss tank either. So that was a weird comment. Well, I don't want it because I'm not into snow vehicles, which I guess if you're not into snow vehicles, but to say, well, it doesn't snow where I live in New Mexico. It doesn't, or wherever, Arizona. It doesn't snow here, so I don't need it. Well, were you going to take it outside? I can tell you my Haslabs never leave the house. They stay in my basement where they're safe and secure, of course. But it'll be interesting. I fully expect it to fund. I guess we'll stay tuned on it the next couple of weeks. And I'm very excited to see it firsthand at San Diego Comic-Con here in a couple of weeks as well. Should be exciting. Once again, August 14th is where the backing ends for that one. So make sure you get your Flint. Make sure you get your sausages. Bon appetit. But now we're diving into some He-Man stuff. And I got some shocking He-Man news here in a little bit. But first, we're going to talk about the Fright Zone. Went up on Mattel Creations this week. Of course, old working man Kyle. Of course, West Side KP. Working, slaving to the grind. One of the busiest weeks of the year. I was on a conference call. It went up on Mattel Creations. I came back there and, I put my collar up with Club Grayskull, all that kind of fun stuff. Didn't matter. It was already sold out. Already gone. I said, you gotta be kidding me. But then Big Bad Toy Store had it. So I said, I'll pre-order from Big Bad Toy Store under protest, of course. But that one is coming. It was around $100 with shipping and everything. Feels like a good deal there. Have to imagine we'll see it at San Diego Comic-Con as well. So I'm excited for the Fright Zone. Looks pretty good. We also had an announcement this week, July 25th, Club Grayskull. Once again, get your collared shirt on. And if you got American flags, you're probably even more welcome. Maybe not, actually. Who knows? But July 25th, we're going to have another exclusive over there. So that'll be interesting to see what that ends up being. We also saw this week up for pre-order the latest and greatest Thundercats He-Man crossover figures. Series 1 through the door. You'll see those in weekly purchases tomorrow. I'll be unboxing those on the channel this week, so stay tuned to that. But Series 2, Tigra, Panthro, and of course, He-Man, a heavy hitter set if there ever was one. Very excited to dive into these Thundercats figures. For whatever reason, this set makes more sense to me than the Turtles of Grayskull. And maybe it's just because He-Man and Thundercats were riding side by side kind of in the 80s a little bit, where Turtles was a little bit later on than He-Man. I don't know. For whatever reason, Turtles Grayskull was fun, but I think this is going to be a lot funner line. Personally, for me, I guess depends who you are. But I did hear some interesting news bouncing around this week, and we'll see what ends up happening. Have to imagine we'll see things a little bit more clear at San Diego Comic-Con, but it does sound like the cartoon collection for Masters Universe is coming to an end. Apparently that line is going to stop. It sounds like King Randor may be the final release as a fan channel exclusive. I guess we'll see what happens there. I mean, it's not 100% confirmed until Mattel tells us that. And, you know, you've heard that for 100 years that this line's ending, this line's ending. And I've never said that, but I have heard that this week. So I don't know if that's true or not. It's something to just put in your back pocket to see if that ends up happening. Once again, San Diego Comic-Con should be a lot clearer on these things. But I've heard cartoon collection coming to an end. Also, Masterverse going to come to an end, but kind of be rebooted. So I don't know what that exactly means. Is it just going to not be called Masterverse? They're going to call it something else, but it's going to be the same style figures. We'll have to stay tuned to that. Also hearing, of course, no surprise, they are going to make He-Man movie figures for the movie that's supposed to release next year. I don't think anybody's shocked for that one as well. It'll be interesting to see with Masterverse if that's the style they're in, if they're going to be rebooted, what's going to happen. And then Origins is pretty much strictly, and it's really been that way already, but it's going to be strictly pretty much to Club Grayskull is what they're going to do with Origins going forward, it sounds like as well. So once again, San Diego Comic-Con should make things a lot more clear. We'll stay tuned for that. But the last bit of He-Man news this week, our friends over there at Mondo, we talked about it this week, fully up for pre-order right now. We got about a couple of weeks to pre-order this one. Man, it looks good, but man, are these expensive. Man, do they hit your wallet. But Manny faces, all kinds of extras of this one. Just really looks like it could be one of the best ever Mondo He-Man figures they've ever released. I'm definitely picking this one up. Very excited about that one. Not excited about the tariffs, the taxes, the shipping, and the big price point. It is what it is. You don't throw a fit, just like my toy hunt this week. Check out that video, of course. And of course, don't forget about Dragon Man. Headed over to Marvel Legends. Unfortunately, my Kingpin was supposed to be here from Amazon today, and I got a delay notice. So I don't know what's going on with that Kingpin figure. But Dragon Man coming in the fall. The Marvel team solicited some extra pictures of this Dragon Man. Very excited. This thing looks absolutely amazing. And I did not have the Toy Biz one back in the day. I should reframe that. I didn't have the last incarnation. I had the OG one back to the 90s back in the day from that very underrated Fantastic Four line. Excited to get a new big beefy Dragon Man in my collection. Shipping out this fall. Have to imagine we'll see that at San Diego Comic-Con as well here in a couple of weeks. And speaking of San Diego Comic-Con, how about Jada Toys? A secret that was kind of been out there the last couple of weeks. We even talked about it like 3 or 4 weeks ago here on the channel. But they officially did solicit Dulcim and, of course, M. Bison in their alt gear, their Player 2 gear. Deluxe set with the flame effect going on there on the bodies flying through the air. So very cool to see that. I have been pretty strict in my Street Fighter Jada Toys, just collecting the iconic characters, not the variants. So I think I'm going to hold and do that, but I also want those burned bodies. Game time decision, of course, at San Diego Comic-Con. Last year, I had no problems getting those exclusives. The year before, the lines were pretty long. So we'll see where this ends up going. But Jada Toys announcing those, and I'm sure we'll see more from Jada Toys at San Diego Comic-Con as well. Super 7 this week showing off. It looks like we're going to have a glow-in-the-dark Mars attacks. Got to get the most out of your molds. We know how they do with the Ultimates line, and I'm a sucker for the Ultimate glow-in-the-dark shelf. I was just admiring in the dark the other day. Todd and I were sitting there hand in hand just admiring my shelf of Super 7 Turtle glow-in-the-dark figures. Man, it looks really cool when you get them all on a shelf and they get that glow going, that's for sure. And the Mars Attacks one, I might have to add to that shelf. So we'll see where that goes. Should be solicited fairly soon. Wouldn't be shocked to see that at San Diego Comic-Con as well. And then we get to some werewolf talk. The first of 2 werewolves this week. NECA the Howling, officially up for pre-order over there at NECA. 3 different werewolf heads on this. And I always say it, Todd McFarlane, 3 werewolf heads are better than 1. I might buy 3 of these. I love werewolves. Something about werewolves when I was a little kid Obviously, with the whiny Larry Talbot, as my dad would say, watching the Universal Monster movies when I was like 4, 5, 6 years old. But then watching the series on Fox called Werewolf, probably the most underrated TV series of all time. Think of the Incredible Hulk TV series, but with werewolves. And that's what you got. Amazing. All videos on YouTube. Check it out if you've never seen Werewolf. Oh my gosh, you're missing out. Get me the werewolf figures. But I've loved werewolves ever since then. Now, the Howling I've seen a few times. However, I'm one of the crazy wild cards here. Howling 1, it's okay. It's worth watching. A lot of people think it's the best werewolf movie of all time. I don't know if I'll go that far. But I do love the one with Sybil Danning and Christopher Lee. What was that? Like My Mother is a Werewolf or something, like part 4. People hate that one. I absolutely love that one. That one's so good. It is so worth watching. It's got everything I want in a werewolf movie. A hot chick. There's nudity. There's blood. There's crazy things going on. There's werewolves. Man, if you haven't seen that movie, we could have a werewolf appreciation video on this channel. Maybe we'll do that one of these days. But the Howling figures are coming. Not really what I think of necessarily with, I think of a werewolf, a little skinnier in the legs. Can we get dog? I'm going on my werewolf rants. Can we get dog soldier figures? I love that Dog Soldiers movie too with, was it Petrie or something like that? Was the guy who was in Gotham back in the day as Alfred? Oh, I love that guy. Love that guy. Don't love him enough to remember his name like Todd McFarlane, but I love that guy. But I love Dog Soldiers. I love werewolves. Get me all the werewolf figures. Get me this Howling one, and I'll probably pick up 3 of these like I did say. So the Howling is coming in hot via NECA. And once again, broken record, San Diego Comic-Con. I'm sure we'll see that as well. And then I missed this one last week, NECA Casey Marie. We got Casey Marie and a bike. A little disappointed about that one, Todd McFarlane. But we are getting a single release here with 2 friends, 2 little turtle friends, much like her mom, April, not too long ago. Getting all these mini turtles out there. You know me, I'm a sucker for the turtles from NECA, so I will pick that one up as well. And then last but not least, in this page of notes here, we got Mask. We're talking about Mask, of course. If you guys remember Matt Tracker and the whole gang, I loved Mask as a kid. I collected Mask. I owned Boulder Hill once upon a time. I had all that kind of stuff, but it's just passed me by. I am not picking these ones up from the loyal subjects. But loyal subjects, if you watch this channel and you want to send me one, I will not refuse it. That's for sure. But I just can't pay the price point. $325. Obviously, we all buy a lot of action figures. That's pretty expensive for the whole set. And if you want to take it a step further, it's like $175 for the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. You're looking at $500 right then and there. They do have vac metal, which I know is a winning recipe for a lot of people, but I feel like Mask is just something I left in the past and I don't need it in this day and age in that scale. However, if they do classified scale, I'd be into it, but I just don't see that. I mean, maybe the figures, but you can't release all those vehicles. But interesting enough, though. I am a Mask guy. I loved Mask as a kid. The cartoon doesn't hold up as well as it did when I was a kid. But man, oh man, it was like the marriage of Transformers and G.I. Joe is kind of what it felt like once upon a time. But simpler times, fun line, and if you're into it, you're getting your wish. It's up at Big Bad Toy Store. Sounds like they've got exclusivity through the rest of the year. I would not be a big fan if I was Entertainment Earth, DJC Collectibles, Jay's Toys and Games. Any of these kind of places, I'd say, you know what? The hardcore Mask people, they're going to buy them. They're going to get them from Big Bad Toy Store. I'm going to be left with crumbs. So, hey, loyal subjects, I'm not going in too hard on this order. I'll buy a case of each, or I'll buy 2 or 3 of each. That's what I would do if I ran a store there. Sometimes exclusives turn people off, and not just us at retail, but customers out there. So, going to be interesting to see how that works. But I guess if they can convince people that Big Bad Toy Store is the place, and going forward, that's where everybody gets them, they still sell the units. So, we'll see where that goes there, but we're not done. We got more toy news, and as Jerry Reed always says, and Jerry Reed, as usual, always 100% right, but now we dive into more werewolves, more sausage. Is it humanly possible? Well, it is if you're a Mythic Legions fan. Is Mythic Legions the horror of Insamal? I can never pronounce this Legion stuff. And I was at Jay's Toys and Games the other day in their warehouse, and good friend of the channel, Corey, was over there, and he's a Legions guy living that Legion life. And I said, I might have you start coming into my videos and just turn to you when the pronunciations come. You can sit over there with Todd on the couch, and we'll just pan over there, you pronounce it, then I'll get back into business. And we might have to do that because I can never pronounce any of these things. But they did announce the Horror of Insamal Wave, $375 all in from the Legion's crew. A lot of figures in here. Now, we got some figures that were, cool, but they're just kind of your standard stuff. But we got some highlight figures. I'm talking highlight figures right here. Of course, we got a polar bear. We knew when they put out that big grizzly, there was going to be more bears on the horizon. So you got to have a grizzly fight somebody, a brown bear fight somebody. They can fight this polar bear. And who knows, maybe you want to add it to your Joe diorama, of course, with snake eyes, which should be coming later this year as well. But we got the polar bear Isbjorn. Oh my gosh, what are we doing there? Why couldn't we call him Fluffy or Winter or Whitey or something like that? I don't know. But we got a polar bear coming. I'm a sucker for an animal. I'll pick that polar bear up. And then we get to a werewolf. How about that? The first Legion werewolf. Have to think we got more werewolves in the future. There's going to be a whole army of werewolves. Have to imagine maybe a figure obscura werewolf in the future. I'm here for the werewolves. I already mentioned that, but we do got one coming. Garmir? What can't he be? Wolfie? I don't know, but we do got him coming to the line. And then for a lot of people, a little bit of a twist, we got the imp scale. So smaller than the dwarf and troll, we got little imps coming, and we got a little bit of a gnome, Burris the gnome coming. I don't know if he's as cool as David the gnome, of course. David the gnome, probably the most famous gnome of all time, I would have to imagine, right? Ed Asner as a gnome writes itself, I think. But we got Burris the imp coming, imp scale. Very interesting. I could see people army building these guys here, but like $40 for a little guy like that, whoo, that's a tough price point. But we're not done with this imp scale, as we got a little fox guy too. Oh, playing all those hits. What did David the Gnome? He used to have like a fox he rode around on, but that was like a red fox. Not that red fox, though. It was a different red fox. It wasn't the comedian, but what was his name? Was it like Swiftwind? No, that was over there on the Princess of Power. She-Ra. That was Swiftwind. What was it? Like Swifty? It was Taylor Swift. I think he rode around on the fox. But we do got a fox coming there. But then where the sausage come in here, and I guess werewolves love sausage, so it makes sense. But we're getting a little diorama set of kind of like a little bar. And with that comes sausages just like Flint. So going to be interesting to see an accessory set with the Mythic Legions. But man, who would have thought we'd talk about multiple werewolves this week and multiple sausages? If anything, being 4th of July, I figured we'd talk about hot dogs, but not the case here. We're talking sausages. And we're also talking about Beast Kingdom, and we're talking about San Diego Comic-Con this week. Superman, Batman, the Penguin, and Gandalf. Which one of those guys doesn't fit? San Diego Comic-Con exclusives went up for pre-order via Beast Kingdom this week and will also be at the show. These look really, really good, especially that Batman and Penguin. I don't know if I can dive into that. Once again, we'll see. But different scale, definitely cool. Todd, you say I shouldn't? Todd says, don't buy any DC except from you. Yeah, I'll note that. I might stick to that rule. We'll see what happens there. But we do have those from Beast Kingdom if you're a Beast Kingdom guy. And Todd, since you interrupted, might as well finish it off with old Todd McFarlane from the couch this week. We did see a Walmart GameStop shared exclusive, The Batman Who Laughs and Merciless. We knew that one was coming. It's been promoted a few times, up for pre-order right now, so dive into that if you want to. We also saw Disco Nightwing and Monarch shown off this week. You know I'm here for those guys, especially Disco Nightwing. Oh, pop that collar. Come on into Club Grayskull. Come on into Club KWK. That's the way it goes with that. So we do got those coming. We also got Page Punchers, Wonder Woman, and Superboy coming. The next set of Page Puncher figures. And then we got No Man's Land Batman, a Batman I'm not familiar with. I'm familiar with A Stranger in a Strange Land, like a young Eddie from Iron Maiden, Todd McFarlane, but I don't know about this one. And then we saw Steph Brown's Batgirl coming to the DC Collector's Edition with Batman No Man's Land Edition. So a lot of McFarlane stuff coming as we're gearing up. Can't wait to see what Todd from the couch has us ready for with San Diego Comic-Con. Have to imagine 2 or 3 exclusives with that. We'll see where that nets out here very, very soon in the next couple of weeks. And that is the non-wrestling news of the week. A lot going on this week. I mean, well over an hour of toy news this week. Actually, 2 hours of toy news when you take the coverage of the Haslab, Snowcat, and then you take, of course, the Power Town coverage, the wrestling toy news, and this toy news. 2 hours of toy news. I'm almost thinking about setting up an anchor desk, and I'll just do a nightly video for like 10, 15 minutes of the toy news of the day. Toy news of the day. And I would do that. Unfortunately, I have a day job and I travel, so I couldn't do it every single day. But that would be fun if I just do a news update every single day. Maybe that's what we should do. I could do it from the car. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be fun? I could get a green screen in my car or something. I don't know. Just talking out loud. That's what I'm doing. But are you talking out loud? What did you think of the toy news this week? What are you excited for? A lot going on, if there ever was one. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you like your sausage? How do you like your werewolves? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the old notification bell. Check out Pro Wrestling Tees, search Kyle Peterson. Check out the Patreon, YouTube channel memberships. Your best way to sponsor and support this channel. And if you want to sponsor the channel, TheKylePetersonShow@gmail.com. SirBall64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok. Yes, TikTok. Check that out too. TheKylePetersonShow@gmail.com once again. And of course, that is my podcast each and every Tuesday, wherever podcasts are found, with video casts on YouTube. Check out me and my wife breaking down everything. We're talking toys. We're talking a whole lot more. We're talking business life. We're putting on that business hat every single week. We're trying new foods. We're doing album of the week. It's all going down on the Kyle Peterson Show podcast. Come join us. Special guest host here next week as well. So you want to be all ready for that along the way. So that's it for another toy news. You know what I'm doing. I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into another weekend.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?
Get that real